Okay, thank you for showing me you're ready. Okay, I'm going to read a story to you. It's called Grandpa's Teeth. Kevin, you might want to turn around so you can see the story, okay? Grandpa's Teeth, but before I start reading it, I want to talk about the word sequencing. Raise your hand if you've heard the word before, you know what it is. Sequencing. Sequence or sequencing, what does that mean, Max?
Isn't that like the order of operation?
Order, okay, so we're talking about in a story or in writing, so order. So he says something that has to do with order. What else? Order of what?
What happens?
Okay, so the order of what happens in the story? So what you mean by that, Allie, is like first, second, third, fourth, or first, then, last. So what happened first, what happened second, what happened third, fourth, and last in the story, right? Okay, yes. Yes, the problem will be in one of those sequences. Now, is it important that it's in order, or can you start with the last thing that happened in the story, and then the first thing, and then maybe the middle? Is it important that you go first, this happened in the story, second, this happened, third, and last? Does it matter? Does order matter? If you think order matters, raise your hand. Okay, put your hands down. If you think order does not matter, raise your hand. Okay, good. Order does matter because you don't want to be confused when you're reading a story, and if someone wants to rewrite it and put it all out of order, you won't understand the story, will you? So it's important that you start with first, second, third, and last. Now, when I mean order and what happens in the story, do you have to tell me every little thing that happens in the story? No. Does it have to be like, Mrs. Martinez woke up, she got out of bed, she put on her slippers, she walked to the bathroom, she picked up her toothbrush, she brushed her teeth. Doesn't have to be that in detail, it just has to be the important events in order. So Mrs. Martinez woke up, she came to school, she went home, she did homework, she went to sleep. You see that? I didn't explain every little thing in between those events. Do you understand what I mean by that? So that is sequencing. So I'm going to read you the story. And just pay attention to the story. Just enjoy the story. I really like how some of you, if you have something to say, are raising your hand. And I like how some of you are being really, really good at paying attention up here and not talking to your neighbor. I appreciate that. Yes, Vice?
It kind of doesn't make sense to me because if you woke up, you went to school, and
I went home and then I went to sleep.
yeah, and you went to sleep. So you just go home and then just go to sleep.
Yeah, that would be my story event.
But when you get up and go down to sleep,
Yes. After the story, I will show you what you have to do. Right now, all I want you to do is pay attention to the story. Question or no? Grandpa's Teeth by Rob Clement. Okay? Okay, ready? Help! I've been robbed, we heard Grandpa shouting. It's the disaster! Come quickly! He was still shouting as Mom, Aguda, and I ran up the stairs. Grandpa's room was a mess, but to be honest, it was always a mess. He blamed Gump, his old dog. But Gump looked too old to me to make much of a mess. What's taken, gasped Mom. Your VCR, your television? Not your trophy. No, said Grandpa. It's much more serious. It's my teeth. They've been stolen. Grandpa normally kept his teeth in a glass of water by the bed. The glass was still there, but the teeth were missing. You haven't swallowed them by mistake, have you? asked Mom. Of course not, replied Grandpa. Those teeth were special, handmade by the finest Swiss craftsmen. Dad looked at Mom and whispered, why is Grandpa talking funny? You see how serious this is, moaned Grandpa. I may never speak the thing again. sure you looked everywhere? Asked Mom. Under the bed, behind the cabinet, in all the drawers? Yes, replied Grandpa, with tears in his eyes. I've looked everywhere. Mom called the police.
We had stolen teeth. I wonder if they grew legs and walked away. Wow, I don't like so.
Let's stop there for a second, just a second. When I'm reading a story, are you supposed to be talking?
No.
No. Are you supposed to be getting up without permission? No. So I appreciate if you sit there and listen to the story quietly because you're going to have to do something. So you're going to have to really pay attention to the story afterwards, okay? Officer Ray looked grave. We've done a thorough search of the room and house, but we found nothing at all. No teeth, no clues. Everyone was at home at the time of the theft. So how the thief got in and out without being seen is a mystery. Can you give us a description of the stolen articles? Mr. Pertwhistle? Grandpa frowned, rubbed his shin, then looked closely at the officer. Could you smile, please? Could you smile?
What?
He asked. Smile! Yes, a nice big smile. Officer Ray grinned sheepishly. No, shouted Grandpa angrily. I mean really smile. Officer Ray grinned sheepishly. Officer Ray smiled broadly. Grandpa leaned forward, tapped the officer's teeth with his finger, and ground suspiciously. They look just like those. Officer Ray looked shocked. I've had these for years. Officer Ray took us all down to the station for further investigation. Using Grandpa's description, the police artist drew a picture of the missing teeth. They put up our wanted poster with all the others. He made copies and put them up all over town.
Sarah?
Sarah, I need you to. I love how good the table's being. You're paying close attention to the story. Thank you. Officer Ray rounded up the usual suspects and took them in for questioning. All of them were asked to smile. Most of them had missing teeth as well, but just one or two, not the whole set. They even brought in our unfriendly neighbor, Mrs. Carnbuckle, because her own teeth didn't fit. But Grandpa didn't recognize her or the teeth in the police lineup. I had never seen her smile before, he explained to Officer Ray. Yeah, because she never did smile. So he doesn't know if those teeth belong to him. After several days, Officer Ray had to admit that no teeth had been found, no thief had been caught, and no new clues had been uncovered. Grandpa suspected everyone, especially anyone who didn't smile. Soon the whole town was smiling at him. Although he never smiled back, he had nothing to smile with. Mom even got a call from one of those TV shows, Unsolved Crimes. They came to the house in a helicopter. We had to reenact the whole thing. When Grandpa was interviewed, he asked the reporter, Pearl White, if he could borrow some of her teeth. After all, he mumbled, you have more than enough. You see her teeth? Does she have more than enough?
Yes.
I think so, right?
I can see it. I can see it. I can't see nothing.
She has big teeth. She's a reporter. Yes.
I think the dog
We'll find out. Let's see. Dad called Switzerland to find out how much a new set of teeth would cost. He was so shocked when he found out that he dropped the phone. The only way we could ever afford it, he joked to Mom, is to sell a house. Grandpa thought this was a great idea. Only it's the house anyway, he moaned. It doesn't help you chew your food. To cheer it up, we all took Grandpa to the amusement park. It was a disaster. He took one good look at the front entrance and burst into tears. Who's seen dentures before? Raise your hand. They are expensive. Dentures are fake teeth that older people wear.
How much do you have?
They're a couple
Oh,
$1,000.
yeah,
They're
they're
pretty
pretty
expensive.
fun.
Now, okay, raise your hand. Let me call you. You've seen them before. Trinity, who has them? Yeah, your grandma. My grandma has them, and when we were little, you know how she used to scare us when we would be really bad? She'd take them out and follow us with them. My grandma, that's how she used to punish us. Take off her dentures and she would follow us around the house with us. True. Okay, let's continue. Thank you. Everyone watched unsolved crimes, but no one called Officer Ray, and the crime remained unsolved. Some spare teeth were left in the mailbox, but none of them fit properly. People began locking their doors at night, imagining a teeth thief loose on the streets. No one knew who will be next, so fear gripped the town. The thief had to be caught, and soon. So look, they're donating teeth for Grandpa. What kind of teeth are they donating? Raise your hand. Yes, Allie.
Well, looks like the kids have shark ones and then they get their own.
Shark tooth, the wind-up one. Think those are gonna work for Grandpa?
Maybe.
Yes.
I know someone who had dentures too.
Yeah.
My ex.
Your ex-mom? Yeah. A lot of people have them. Okay. Shh. It seemed that the only way to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the teeth in your mouth were your own was to smile broadly at every person you met. Anyone who didn't smile was immediately dragged off to the police station for more questioning and a chat with Officer Ray. So everyone began smiling at everyone else. At that time, everywhere, even at funerals, people were smiling. Why are people smiling? Raise your hand. Why are people starting to smile everywhere they go? They're just walking around like this. Why?
To show Grandpa.
Why? Sabrina, why? Yeah, because they don't want to be a suspect to Grandpa, right? So they're just smiling so Grandpa can see their teeth. Yes. Yes, you can get it. Thank you for asking. Because of Grandpa's teeth, the whole town was beginning to suffer. Tourists seemed the endless sea of smiling faces were too scared to get out of their cars. After a while, they stopped coming altogether. Gas Cafe, like the rest of the town, was losing business. The mayor called an emergency meeting. That night, for the first time that anyone could remember, the town hall was full. Speaker after speaker stood up to complain about the loss of customers and the constant strain of smiling every day. Pastor Butters summed up the situation. While I've always considered this a happy town, there are limits. No one wants to smile without a reason. And there aren't many reasons to smile in this town at the moment. It's time, I believe, to put a stop to it. The crowd cheered. Mr. Pertwhistle had one of the finest sets of teeth in the country, and he alone could not afford to replace them. In fact, I alone could not afford to replace them either. But if every one of us will put in a dollar in the collection plate tonight, we would have enough money to buy 2 new sets of teeth. Most people put in $1, others put in 2. Cody, I love the way you're sitting there paying attention. At the presentation ceremony, Grandpa opened the package and revealed 2 sets of brand new teeth. Why are they different sizes? Asked the maid. Oh, I have it up there. Right here. I have it up here in the Thank you, though. Why are they different sizes? Asked the mayor. Only one of them isn't for me, replied the grandpa, popping one of the sets into his mouth. The other one is for Mr. Carnbuckle. Her teeth never fit properly, and she has such a pretty smile. Who's Mrs. Carnbuckle?
Oh, that one.
Why is he giving the second pair of dentures to Mrs. Carnbuckle? Yes. She has a really nice smile, but what's wrong with her own dentures? They don't fit properly. They're all coming out, right? So he's being generous and he's donating the second pair to her. Grandpa was very happy with his new teeth, so was Mrs. Carnbuckle. They smiled all the time. In fact, they were so happy that Grandpa's old dog, Gump, smiled too. The dog is right here with Grandpa. For the first time ever, for the first time ever. What?
I knew it. Smile.
The dog finally smiled for the first time ever. And what's wrong with the dog's smile? Thank you for raising your hand, Alex.
Oh, because he has grandpa's teeth.
He stole Grandpa's teeth. So Allie was right. The dog stole Grandpa's teeth. He has dentures now. Okay, so couple things we're gonna do with the story. First, we talked about sequencing, right? You are going to take the story and you're going to cut out some squares that I have for you, and you're going to put them in the right order as the story went on. After that, you're going to fill in a story map. What is a story map? Raise your hand if you know what a story map is. We've done this in small groups, so some of you know and some of you might have done it somewhere else. What is a story map? Cinda, what is a story map? Forgot? We did it today in small groups. Someone else, what is a story map? Kevin.
It's a thing that has a problem, solution, events, and characters.
Good, so it has title, right?
And opinion.
It has title, it has characters. I love how you're paying close attention. Characters, problem,
Solution. And
okay.
opinions.
It has a couple more things in the paper that I'm going to give you. Yes, Virgin. In a second. First, a story map is going to ask you for the title. What is the title of this book? Thank you for raising your hand. Grandpa's Teeth. Who are the characters in the story? So you're going to put the characters. Give me one character only so we know what a character is. What is a character? Wyatt. Grandpa. So you will say, do we know his name? If you know the name, just put the name. Okay? What was the problem in the story? Someone else. What was the problem in the story? Let's see. Vice. What was the problem in the story? Grandpa lost his teeth. So you can write that in. Events. This is, okay, events. What are events? What are events? Emily. Things that happen in the story. Is it important to have them in order?
Yes.
So this is really what we learned. What is this word that we just learned? Sequencing. So you're going to sequence the events in order.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What is a solution?
Solution.
Hugo, what is a solution?
Problem.
How they solve the problem. What's another word they sometimes use for problem? Look up here. Another word that they use for problem is conflict. So how they solve the conflict or how they solve the problem, okay? Now, I'm going to show you the papers that you're going to receive. You are to work individually, okay? Hands down.